little detailed will work. A summary what we did in the last class. We took from speciation and we discussed evolution in plants, a history or a summary of evolution in plants. So who were not there in the last class? Sefula, I think, were you there in the last class?
No, sir.
No, right? Yeah. They also join in. And what about you, Miraj? You were there?
Yes, sir, I was, sir.
Yes, you were there, right? Okay, so how about a summary from you, Miraj? A summary of what we did in the last class for Sefula and others who were not present.
Sir, can you, sir, keep the slideshow going? Because, sir, my notes are not complete, sir, for the last class.
Okay, so I think I dictated a lot of things in the last class which are not in the slide, but I'll keep it. And okay, so let's do one thing. For every part, if something is missed, Nabil, will you help Miraj in the summary?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so start, Miraj. I think we started from speciation in the last class, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, start.
So, sir, speciation, it is a process of a new species. It is a process of a new emergence of a new species from pre-existing ones through evolution and from evolution of new and different phenotypes. So microbial experiments have shown that pre-existing advantages mutations give rise to phenotypes, which results in specific speciation.
Okay. Yes, continue. What next? How do we know about what is the proof of speciation? Can you see here?
It is
Experimental proof we discussed. Yes, Nabil, would you like to help?
So microbial experiments have shown that pre-existing advantages mutations, when passed on from generation to generation, can be selected and give rise to new phenotypes. And over a few years, it results in speciation. For example, if during a random mutation, if some microbes happen to have acquired resistance to a particular antibiotic due to a chance mutation, and obviously, since it is advantageous, it will get selected by nature, and that particular microbe individual will give rise to more individuals, and it will eventually result in a new species.
Will it get selected right there?
Yes, sir. 1 minute.
Will it get selected right there?
No, sir. Provided that conditions are present which test it, like if that particular antibiotic is put into its habitat.
Yeah, so over some generations, so in a few generations it will get selected, because in just few generations there will be multiple bacteria carrying that genetic mutation and that phenotype, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then continue, Miraj. So you understood that microbial experiments have proved speciation, Miraj? Are you there, Miraj? We can start. Can continue with natural selection now. Miraj is not audible to me. In which case, Nabil, would you like to continue? I think he's rejoined. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Then we need natural selection. So it is a process in which heritable variations, which enables better survival, are made to reproduce more in nature and leave greater number of progenies, then basically, what we've understood from the microbial experiments is that if any particular variation is beneficial for the species, like in the case of antibiotic resistance, it will be selected by nature through over several generations, and it will be inherited by the progenies. And that particular individual will be the one who will have greater number of progenies, because he'll be able to make more advantage of the natural resources. Then next one is we did a class assignment of summarizing the evolutionary graph of plants, in which we found out the evolutionary paths of bryophytes, ferns, and conifers. Then we found out that first the bryophytes are relatively newer, but ferns and conifers came out first during the Jurassic period of the Mesozoic.
No. And yes, when you say relatively newer, you have to also say that they have the most primitive characters.
So, but they have the most
They did
primitive
not.
characters.
They have the least number of branching descent events, branching events. Yes.
They have the most primitive characters, as they came from directly from the chlorophyte ancestors. So with least branching, so they don't have any newer characters, but their evolutionary period, they are new. And next is the ferns and conifers. They came from xylophytans. They came up during the Jurassic period of the Mesozoic, and relatively they have newer characters, but evolutionary period wise they emerged before them, before the bryophytes, both the ferns and conifers. And then we did a brief account of evolution. The first cellular forms of life evolved around 3.2 billion years ago. The non-cellular aggregates of molecules, inorganic, assembled into cells with membranous coverings or envelope. Some of the early unicellular organisms evolved ability to release oxygen and start making the environment less reducing. So these early organisms which could release oxygen had evolved chemical reaction pathways similar to photosynthesis.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nabil. And Madhya has also joined in. Hello, Madhya. Good evening. Wafia, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So today we'll be talking about the animal evolution, and similarly for animals also we have similar kind of figure. So please open your NCERT. Let me see if I can pull that figure. Yes. Can you all see this figure, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Make it big. Okay, I think you all can see this.
Yes, sir.
So what do you see on the top? Let's again. So you have to do the similar kind of thing, and I'll give you in a similar manner. I think I asked you to go back and read this part, right?
Yes, sir.
To go back and read. So you might be having some ideas already if you read that. So again, in this assignment, now here there's a little complexity. Again, there on the y-axis, it's the evolutionary time period. And on the x-axis, you see here all the here different animals. So you see turtles. What are turtles?
Reptiles.
That's different animals. So this is reptiles, lizards are reptiles, snakes are reptiles. Then you go towards birds, which are not reptiles, and then mammals. Okay, so reptiles, birds, and mammals, all different are here. Amphibians and fish are not present, right, in this. Now you have to tell me why there is no amphibian and fish here, and That is one question that you will address. And also take the example of turtle. What you have to include when you're writing turtle, crocodile. Remember we talked about crocodile a lot in the last class?
Yes, sir.
Turtle, lizard, crocodile, birds, and mammals. These 5. And I'm giving you 5 minutes, just like last class. Again, another in-class assignment. So everyone has to just write how do turtles came up, from which ancestor did they came up, and how are they different from others. So turtle, lizards, crocodiles, birds, and mammals. Okay, so just observe this table for 5 minutes and make your own notes. 3 to 5 minutes. I hope everyone is doing it. Madiha, Mariam, Saifullah, Miraj.
Sir, can you say again
Can I say again like what you have to do?
the question?
Yes, the question is the species that are marked here, the classes of organisms that are marked as star, I have star marked. You have to write an account, a paragraph, or like 1 to 2 line each about their ancestors from which they have evolved and how early or late they evolved in evolutionary time period. So based on that, what characters do they have? Very primitive characters? Do they have new characters? And if you say so, why is that? You just have to whatever you can understand. Then I will also discuss this graph with you. But first I want you to spend a few minutes and
Sir,
write
but
your
here
own
it-
account.
Sir, but here it doesn't say when they evolved, right, sir? There, the plant's case, the name was written in that period.
Yeah, so here you have the ancestors, right? Logged
Yes.
in that period. So for example, this ancestor is logged in this period. This ancestor is logged on this period. Now with this locking actually tells that they are extinct. So there here it ends, right? Can you see the graph is not going any up?
Yes, sir.
For this it is present, but the graph is going up, and slowly this is becoming a mammal. So this is you have to write. So different kind of pictorial graphs can be presented to you. You have to read all of them differently depending on what are they talking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do it and tell me, then I'll discuss it with you and you will understand better. Okay, everyone, your time starts now. Is it clear, Saifullah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your time starts now. Right. Couple of more minutes, people. Am I audible, people? Sorry, I just logged out of the meeting somehow. Am I audible? Wafia, Nabil, Miraj, Saifullah, and Mariam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. So you got more time than I wanted you to give. Okay, anyways, but did you finish, everyone? Can you see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, okay. Now I just logged out and was not able to get into the meeting. Okay, so let's start with Saifullah. Saifullah, tell me what are your key points? What do you understand from this graph?
Every animals in the graph are
Yes.
evolved from a single species, that is early reptiles.
But that's not a single species, right? We are not sure whether it's a single species. We know that they were early reptiles. Now they are extinct, so we are not very sure about their species, right? That's why there is no name. Like here, the name is Pelycosaurs or Thecodonts, Therapsids, Dinosaurs. We don't know about it being one species or multiple species belonging to a early reptile group. You understand, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but continue. Yes, right. So this starts here with this early reptiles. This is what Saifullah is saying. So it all starts here. Okay, yes, continue. So what's special? So now can you answer my question, Saifullah? Why there is no fish in this? Fish or amphibians in this graph? Am I audible, Saifullah?
Yes, sir. Just you're
Why
breaking
there?
for me.
Okay, let me. Is my voice breaking for others as well?
No, sir.
No. Okay, so I think Saifullah, then some issues on your side. But do you understand the question? Why there are no fish and whole representation? Okay, I think he's not
Okay.
able to
So now you are breaking a bit in the voice.
hear me. Miraj, would you like to answer that?
Sir, your voice is breaking in the middle, sir.
Is it still breaking?
No, not now,
Sir,
sir.
it is
It's okay now, sir.
It's okay now? Everyone can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, the question is why there are no amphibians and fish? Anyone who would like to answer?
Sir, because amphibians and fish, although their ancestors were primarily aquatic, so those ancestors which descended on the land, they were the ones that gave rise to the terrestrial animals that we see now. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
there
but
have been
again,
represented here
why is there no amphibians and fish?
because
Why?
they came way before this, before the early reptiles.
Exactly. Before amphibians, because amphibians and fish have evolved before reptiles, right? So one thing is clear that if you start any graph from early reptiles, you will not get any amphibians or fish at the present, right? So this
Yes, sir.
proves that before that, write down. So let me dictate. Okay, before I dictate, Nabil, would you like to tell what else do you understand from this graph? What is your understanding of the graph?
Sir, first there were the early reptiles. So those early reptiles divided into two groups. One was the sauropsids and one was the synapsids. The sauropsids were the ones that eventually
Yes.
gave rise to the modern turtles, whereas the synapsids gave rise to a number of other species, such as the snakes, turtles, crocodiles, birds and mammals. So the first we have the sauropsid.
No. You missed the point here. Okay, Nabil. Synapsids are only responsible for giving rise to mammals. Very differently. Mammals are different. You see this, you trace this line. It's only coming from synapsids, right? Everything else at this junction, either you move towards right or you go up. Everything else is sauropsid based, whether it's turtle, which are the closest, or then there are divergences, right? You see this point, there are divergences. And from lizards till birds, this whole spectrum of organisms. Do you understand what I'm talking about? This whole spectrum.
Yes, sir.
From lizards to birds, this whole spectrum is given has rose from sauropsids only. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. So these sauropsids, they have the most branching descent. So the first earliest ones are the turtles. They have the most primitive characters. Then we have the lizards. They are the evolutionarily they are the closest relative to the turtles. So they have also evolved from the sauropsids, and they have also had the most branching descents. And next we have the crocodiles. These crocodiles have evolved from the thecodonts. These crocodiles have evolved from the thecodonts.
And can you see that? Yes, can you see that one is coming like crocodiles and dinosaurs are very close, right?
Yes, sir.
But dinosaurs are now extinct. Crocodiles are still present. So that's
And-
why yesterday when we were discussing, just let me complete this point, Nabil. Yesterday
sir.
when we were discussing, I told you that dinosaurs are also considered as living fossils, right? Because they have characteristic features to early reptiles like dinosaurs, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, continue.
And they are their closest ancestors are the dinosaurs, and their main branch is the sauropsids. Next, we have the birds.
They are not closest to the dinosaur. You forgot. Look at the node here. You know, in fact, birds are the closest. Can you see? Because this node is in Jurassic region. See this node, this divergence happened in Jurassic period around 150 million years ago, where dinosaurs and birds diverged. But when crocodiles and dinosaurs diverged, that was in Triassic period. You understand?
Sir, but the crocodiles earliest, sir, crocodiles' nearest ancestors will be dinosaurs, right? Because birds means you have to go one extra branch.
No, but because of this branching till this point, see where the branching has not happened till this point, it was the same, right? For birds and dinosaurs,
Yes,
right?
sir.
But it was
Yes,
not
sir.
the same for crocodiles and dinosaurs. You understand? This is how we read.
Yes.
So if a branching has happened very early, it means that they are distant now. But if the branching happens very late, like just 0 million years or 50 million years or 100 million years ago, then it is related. So the closest, this is actually this is a neat question. So write down this question. The closest living organisms to dinosaurs, the closest, write this down, the closest living organisms to dinosaurs are birds. Make sense from this graph? Do you understand now how to?
Sir, so what would we say is the closest relative of the crocodiles?
Closest relatives of the crocodile, like it's the common ancestor from, again, for crocodiles it's dinosaurs, but for dinosaurs it's birds.
Yes, sir, I was saying that like
Okay.
Crocodiles' closest ancestors are dinosaurs.
Crocodile, yes, crocodiles. So you can say it like that. Crocodiles are crocodiles apostrophe S closest ancestor are dinosaurs, but dinosaurs closest ancestors are not crocodiles, they're birds. You understand why? Because they diverged from birds later on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, continue. Oh, okay.
Uh,
All right.
yes,
Continue.
please. Next, we have the birds.
Yes, and
They are
mammals.
also called as the apes, and they have evolved from the
Yes.
pterodons. Their
Yes.
closest ancestors are the dinosaurs, and they are also
No.
the dinosaurs' closest ancestors. And the main branch
Yes,
is the sauropsids. Then
exactly.
next, we have the
Main
mammals.
branch means the earliest branch that diverged from early reptiles. So they belong to the sauropsids branch, not to the synapsids. In fact, there is only one thing that belongs to the synapsids branch, not extinct and present today, that is mammals. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then we have the mammals. Mammals they evolved from the synapsids, and their uh, closest extinct ancestor was the
Yes.
therapsids,
Therapsids. Yes.
which look like
So,
this.
yes. Closest ancestors to mammals. Okay. Now, from therapsids to mammals, also there are lots of branching, but we are not talking about each and every mammal here because uh, humans and chimpanzees both are mammals. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Humans and rats are also mammals. Cows, goats, buffaloes are also mammals. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So you can understand that it's not like just a linear line. There is not only one mammal. Similarly, there are not only one species of crocodiles. So in between also there are branching, but just to keep it simple for you to understand, they have not done that. They have not gone into the details of different types of mammals or different species of mammals. Okay. Do you understand, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, very well. Okay, so let me dictate you certain things. So you understood this graph?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has any doubts? And look here, between Triassic and Jurassic at this junction, they are also telling you that lizards and snakes diverged, right? One became lizard and the other became snakes. Can you see this? This simply means that what are snakes? They are reptiles, but they have evolved from lizards. It's not the other way around. Okay. So earlier the ancestors here had legs. Okay. Then snakes lost the legs. It's not like the earlier ancestors were legless like snakes and then lizards developed the legs. So the otherwise is not true. Do you understand from this graph?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And also you can see these proofs in the anatomy of snakes. Some big snakes, the way you will see that at two distinct points in their vertebral column, they have a very long extended vertebral column. There are small rudimentary leg-like appendages like bones present, which never develop and never give rise to legs or appendages. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Very well. So let's now write it. So write down the first invertebrates. Now I'm starting from the beginning, okay? Not from the reptiles, but from the beginning, which is not here. So write down evolution of invertebrates. The first invertebrates means that do not have the vertebral column, like insects, whatever come before reptiles. Okay. Understood, everyone? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
If my voice lags, please let me know. So the earliest invertebrates were evolved around 500 million years ago. The earliest of course, if they are invertebrates, they are multicellular animals. The earliest invertebrates, which is multicellular animals, evolved around 500 million years ago. So you can see that this graph only talks about, it goes as early as 350 million years ago, right? Not before that. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's where earliest invertebrates are. And then write down first kind of jawless fish. So the first early fish did not have the jaw. They were called jawless. So in class 11th, you have studied the animal kingdom, right? Biological classification.
Yes,
Have you,
sir.
Yes.
have you studied there the fish classification, and there it's written agnathostomes. Agnathostomes as fish. Agnathostomes are jawless fish. AGNATHO, agnathostomes, STOMES. It's there in class 11th. So please go and revise that part. So the first kind of jawless fish evolved around 350 million years ago. Okay, here, just around here, the reptiles prepared. Okay. And then fish. So jawless fish is not a proper fish. All right, down. Proper fish with stout and fins, STOUT, stout and fins, evolved into the first amphibians. So fish came first, then came amphibians. Are you all following?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
What is a
first,
stout?
stout is the mouth region of the fish. Have you seen that they have elongated mouth part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So stout and fins, these are the two characteristic features of fish, no? They don't have a face like any other organism, like reptiles or things. They have a stout. So they developed or evolved into the first amphibians. Now, what are amphibians? What is the difference between an amphibian and a fish?
They can
And a
be on land as well.
And what is the difference between an amphibian and a reptile?
They can be on land as well as water.
What reptiles?
Only land.
No, reptiles are found in water. For that matter, mammals are also found in water. Remember, hippopotamus is a mammal found in water. Whale is in water. What is the correct definition? So you also have to pay attention to the details in science, right, Nabil?
Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between fish and amphibian again?
Fish can only breathe in water, whereas
Fish doesn't breathe.
like it can only like respire in water, whereas amphibians can respire on both land and water. Reptiles can only respire on air. I mean, on like above the surface of water. They can't actually use the water.
More than rest. Yeah, but that does not tell us about their survival, no? So let's say mammals can also only respire in air. Then why do whales live in water? Right? Whale is a mammal, right?
Yes, sir.
Then why do you think it lives in water?
So it does come up to take up air, right?
Yeah, right. So the point is, you have to say it like this. Fish are, their life cycle and everything is only dependent on water, right? So they cannot survive outside water. Amphibians can survive outside water, but the reproductive part, their life cycle, some part of their life cycle requires water to be completed. Without that, they cannot reproduce. So their dependency on water is less, but still there. Okay. When we come out of amphibians, like reptiles can survive, reproduce, do everything outside water, And if some reptiles are found in water, that is just because they have habituated for water. It's not because reptiles are dependent on water. Some species have adapted for water and they go back in water to live. And then come birds and mammals. For example, birds like penguins, they are also adapted to water, right? They can swim in water, but they are birds. It does not mean that birds depend on, all the birds depend on water, but all amphibians depend on water. There is no amphibian that does not depend on water. So once an organism has evolved, it can go back to adapt to water. That's a different thing. Whales have done that. Being mammals, being mammals, bats can fly. That's all different adaptations. But do you understand their relationship with water and how they are associated with it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what did you write? The last line. Tell me about the last line.
The proper fish with snout and fins evolved into early amphibians.
First, yeah, the first amphibians that lived on both land and water. That lived, or that were dependent, better than lived, right now, that were dependent on both land and water. And then next point, the amphibians evolved into reptiles around 350, around 300 to 350 million years ago. The amphibians evolved into reptiles. So write down some points here which tells you the difference between amphibians and reptiles. First is, amphibians life cycle depends on water. Okay, but reptiles can survive entirely on land and they produce on land first. The second difference is in the thickness of the shells of the eggs that they lay. So all fish, amphibians and reptiles, all three of these lay eggs, and even birds, right? Only mammals are there which give birth. There are also egg-laying mammals as an exception, like duck-billed platypus, right? Duck-billed platypus is an egg-laying mammal. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the another difference between amphibian and reptiles is, write down.
Sir, one
That-
question, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Is
Nabil.
platypus like in the middle of branch between reptiles and mammals, or is it like by choice they chose to put eggs? Like how you said, some reptiles went back
Yes.
into
Yes.
water.
Right. So that is a good question, but I do not have a very clear answer for that, because I don't think we understand that whether they are like therapsids that came from, but they are mammals. They have mammary glands. They also have bill, which is a feature of bird, right? Not of reptile, duck-billed. So it is believed that somehow they're more like birds, being mammals, not like reptiles being mammals. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Reptiles
sir.
don't have bills, right? Bills are a characteristic feature. You know what are bills? The beak, hornbill is a
Yes, sir.
bird. Big beaks are basically bills. So they look like hairy birds, like not feathery birds, but hairy birds. But we don't have a very clear, like I don't have a very clear answer for that, Nabil. I might have to look up. Probably in the next class, I'll try to come back to you regarding that. How does it work? Okay,
Yes, sir.
that will be fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So what was I saying? What was I dictating?
Sir, they were going to say about the thickness of their egg.
Yes, right. So amphibians have a thin shelled eggs. Okay, thin shelled eggs. So amphibians have a thin shelled eggs, whereas reptiles have thick shelled eggs. Reptiles have thick shelled eggs. If you keep the egg of an amphibian outside the water, it will dry out in the sun. Okay, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Whereas the egg of reptiles do not dry up in the sun. The eggs of reptiles do not dry up in the sun. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So basically, some of these reptiles, land reptiles, when they evolved, they went back into water. Okay. And so evolution is not very straightforward. It is believed that many of these reptiles went back into water and started living there and became water reptiles. Okay. Like you have your alligators and crocodiles, which actually are coming from reptiles, but then they went back and they started living in the water. The land reptiles basically were the ones that developed into dinosaurs. Okay, so write down the land reptiles became the dinosaurs.
So amphibians and reptiles only two differences.
Yes, so I was just telling you because these two differences are asked a lot in school exams, also in entrances. These two differences are quizzed. There are many more differences that you have studied in class 11th when you studied reptiles and about their reproductive system, about what kind of structures do they have in there. So I'm not going into the detail of classification because that you have already studied in class 11th. I'm just telling you these two differences based on their evolutionary significance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So land reptiles were called dinosaurs, and some general knowledge like the biggest dinosaur. Which was the biggest dinosaur? Biggest land dinosaur?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, that was, yes, the biggest and the largest one was T-Rex. When it comes to longest, then you have to take into consideration the neck part also. So those were some herbivores, which had very long necks, known as Diplodocus or things like that. Do you understand? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So write down. And about reptiles, about dinosaurs, which were the land reptiles, there is also, you must have studied or known or heard that around 60 to 65 million years ago, they suddenly disappeared. Like we find their fossils till 65 million years ago, but after that we do not find any dinosaur fossils, which means they were not. So if I find the fossils and I date it, and it is coming out to be 65 million years ago, but after that I do not find any fossil. What does it mean?
They all went extinct at the same time.
They all died. That's why their fossils are there. And after that, because it cannot happen that no dinosaur died after that, right?
Yes,
They
sir.
must have died, but we know from the fossil records that they suddenly disappeared. Okay, so there are many theories that talk about this, but since it is not a direct theory related to theory of evolution, so some of the theories are that there was a asteroid collision that led to the disaster, climatic changes, sudden climatic changes. Some believe it's the mixture of both. And many of these dinosaurs before extinction, they evolved into birds. So write down, reptiles evolved into birds. Land reptiles evolved into birds. And for this, we have evidences, which is, so write down this one term here, Archaeopteryx. Archaeopteryx. This is a link, fossil link. Okay, this is not living. We found the fossil link between reptiles, land reptiles, or I should say dinosaurs, and birds, because it has combining features. Okay, it has a beak. Now beak is a feature of birds, right? But inside the beak it has teeth. Now teeth, birds don't have teeth. Which organisms have teeth before birds?
Reptiles.
Reptiles have teeth, right? Yeah, very well. So, and also they have feathers, and they also have skin, like at some region of the body they have skin with scales. So scales is a feature of which
Reptiles.
are reptiles, but feathers is a feature of
Birds.
birds. Yes, so that Archaeopteryx is a fossil link. So land reptiles became birds. Clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to mammals, write down the first mammals to evolve came from the synapsids branch. Synapsids branch. Until therapsids, we did not call them mammal. We call them synapsids, pelycosaurs, and therapsids. Okay. So the first kind of mammals were like shrews. You know shrews?
Yes, sir. Like little mice.
Yes, they have a long snout like shrews, small shrews. So first mammals were like shrews, and their fossil, we have found their fossils. Write down mammals are viviparous. Viviparous means they give rise to the egg. And are more intelligent in sensing the environment and adjusting according to the change. In sensing the environment and adjusting according to the change.
Sure, but the shrews were small, right? So, and dinosaurs were very big. So their brain sizes would have been very different. So how
Yes,
were the
so
shrews more intelligent?
intelligence is not about, yeah, so first thing, dinosaurs were very big, but their brains were not very big. Okay, that's the difference. So dinosaurs as big as longer than T-Rex, you know, their brains were very small. It's hypothesized that their brains were, because if you look at their structure, their heads are smaller as compared to their whole body, and in the head also the skull part, and in the skull also the region where brain is, that's very small. So their brain is smaller if you compare it to the body size. Shrews are small, so their brain of course has to be small, but when you compare it to the body size, it's very big, the ratio. You understand?
Yes, sir.
It's the brain to body ratio. So if you have a dinosaur as big as a T-Rex and the brain is of a shape of a walnut, do you think it's going to be very intelligent?
Yes, sir.
No, but dinosaurs like T-Rex were very intelligent, but all dinosaurs were not intelligent. What I'm saying is mammals were more intelligent than dinosaurs, because the earliest mammal were small and their brain to body ratio was higher. And also another difference between reptiles and mammals, write down, is that reptiles are cold-blooded organisms, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Reptiles are cold-blooded organisms, whereas mammals are warm-blooded. What does it mean? That they can
Regulate their body temperature.
regulate their body temperature. Yes. So that's where mammals were better at adjusting to the changes also. They could even adjust to live in cold climates where dinosaurs could not reach. So mammals, you will find mammals everywhere where you will not find reptiles. So you will find mammals and birds because both of them can regulate their body temperature. So if you will go to the Arctic region, the more colder environment you go to, you will find more mammals and birds, but less and less of reptiles and amphibians. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So write down. So that is where when reptiles like dinosaurs became extinct, mammals took over. So at one point of time, it was reptile heavy world, and they were the dominant group of animals. Now it is mammals. Okay. Now if you see any jungle, every food chain, you will see mammals at the top, whether they are tiger and lions in the jungle, to wild dogs, cats, humans, etc. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next, write down some mammals, like you were telling. So let me also dictate about that. Some mammals have adapted to live in water. Like whales, dolphins, seal. You know about seals? Cold. They live in cold glacier climates. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Did you just change your DP to a dinosaur, maybe?
Yes, sir. I was using that for my presentation.
Okay. Okay,
And
great.
number of other pictures as well. But
Okay. So whales, dolphins, seals, and there is something called as sea cows. You know sea cows? Go and look at it. They're interesting. So sea cows, COWS, just like land cows, sea cows. So these are all that mammals that have adapted to live in water. Okay. So is the complete evolution of plants and animals both is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Everyone? Everything is written? Shall I move forward or you're
like
still
this?
writing? Yes, Nabil.
Does it look like this?
Yes, yes. These are sea cows. Yes. Where did you find this picture? So Nabil's profile picture is a sea cow. No, they have a very big suction like mouth, and they just at the bottom of the seabed, they actually just eat, just like cows graze the grass, right?
Yeah,
They
sea
feed
cows
on.
are also herbivores. They're
Yes,
herbivorous
yes,
mammals.
and sea cows are also herbivores, water mammals. Yes, Madhya, correct. Very good point. So is everything clear now? Evolution. Okay. So now let's move to a specialized part, and this is also the last part. Can someone confirm? Is there anything? Is evolution of human the last part of your syllabus? Yes or no? Please check with your NCERT. Origin and evolution of Homo sapiens. Now, at the very end, we are just studying this because we are human, and it's good to know about our own evolution. Where did we come from? Now, for humans evolution, humans are basically primates, right? You know about the difference between primates and non-primates vertebrates? If you'll go to class 11th, I am giving you this one homework. Write down.
So they have
Homework.
impossible thumbs.
Sorry, what?
They have
Naveen?
impossible thumbs.
Okay, can you come again?
So they have impossible thumbs.
Yes, so vertebrates, yes. So sorry, primates are first thing, they have the ability to stand on 2 feet. Okay, so their the bone anatomical structure of the appendages are kind of lateral to the body axis, so they are capable, even if like with some difficulty, but every primate, if you hold them with their, so they use their 2 appendages as hands and the other 2 as legs. So humans are the most evolved primate, which are bipedal. Bipedal means, bi means 2, pedal means like foot, so we can walk on 2 foot. Okay, so you have to go to biological classification chapter. Write down this homework first. Biological classification, class 11th, and look for, read about vertebrate vertebrate classification. Okay, you do this, everyone. This is your homework.
Yes, sir.
Now write down about human evolution. So humans are primates, which actually the first kind of fossils that tells us about that human-like species were there, not humans, were around 15 million years ago. So around 15 MYA, million years ago, there were species like primate species. They were very, very small. They actually used to look like, if you will look at them, you will see, they will look like monkeys, but they were not monkeys, because monkeys are also very, very evolved now. They live in the present. So that's where this misconception that humans comes from monkeys comes, but they were primates named, they are named as Dryopithecus. I'm putting everything in the box here. So the Dryopithecus is believed to be the first, along with Dramapethicus. And you will pay attention here that there is no homo in the name, right? So as of, even the genus is not the same. They're not at all humans. Humans do not exist, Abhi, like in this time frame when we're talking about 15 million years ago. Okay, but these species, Diapethicus and Dramapethicus, are just like what are these synapsids and therapsids, etc. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, they used to exist, and write down characteristics of Dryopithecus and Dramapethicus. The body was full of hair, and though they could walk, sorry, they,
Sir, can you say from the start?
okay, from the start. Okay, what was the sentence? Where does sentence start? Okay, let me start from the
Body
beginning.
was covered with hair.
Characteristics of Dryopithecus and Dramapethicus. Okay, write down. Their body, full body was covered with hair, and they walked like chimpanzees do, you know, taking the help of all the 4 appendages, right? Have you seen a chimpanzee walking? It can actually erect itself. You must have seen chimpanzees and gorillas when they are like fighting, they are beating their chest, right? Making a ferocious sound. trying to scare off the opponent. Do you understand what I'm talking about, people?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, but that does not mean that they can comfortably walk on 2 feet. Okay, that's what even Dramapethicus and Australopithecus were like. Now, in that too, it is believed that they both used to live together. So they also diverged. And this one group, Dramapethicus, write down. Dramapethicus had more hominin character or hominid characters. You know what do you mean by hominids? Human-like. Yes, but not human. It's still not human, it's human-like. So this had more hominid characters, and Diapethicus had more ape-like characters. Ape-like characters. So can you see now, apes actually, we never evolved from apes. Just like you can understand this as synapsids and sauropsids. If I say that lizards evolved from synapsids or mammals evolved from lizards, it's not true, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
There
sir.
were 2 different branches already. So apes were more of like Dryopithecus kind of population, and then Dramapithecus. And the earliest fossils of like human-like bones, these hominid characters that I'm talking about, the proof for this is the earliest, write down, the earliest human-like fossils. This is the proof. The earliest human-like fossils from Africa, in Ethiopia to be. Ethiopia is the cradle of human. So earliest fossils from Africa have been found to support this. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this hominid features keeps on developing, and the first human-like primates which evolved from this Dramapethicus. So write down first human-like primates. That evolved. Were around 3 to 4 million years old. So the human genus, Homo genus, okay, is not older than 3.4 million years ago. The first human-like. Now, when I say human-like, it does not mean they used to look like us. They used to look very different. Even if you look at people who are 200 years old, they are slightly different from us, right? Over the time, the body hair is decreasing on the body. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Lots of genetic variation is happening, and humans are also changing. So let's say 10,000 years from now, humans will look very different from what humans look today, because the change is slowly but accumulating. And from here came Australopithecus. So this name came Australopithecus. Australopithecus. Still, it is human-like. It is not human. Otherwise, if it was a human species, we would have said it Homo, but it's Pithecus, just like Dramapithecus. And they used to be there, I think, short and 2 million years ago, if I'm not wrong. They were short, statured, not more than 4 feet. Okay. So this is the third. And Australopithecus, write down Australopithecus fossils. What is the proof here? Again, fossil records The name has Australo does not mean it's from Australia. Okay, don't get confused. Fossil records of Australopithecus. Fossil records of Australopithecus from East Africa. What is East Africa? You know where is East Africa? Basically, their fossils are found in grassland areas. So East African grasslands, okay? These Australopithecus. Make sense? So basically, it's all happening in Africa currently. Then we have evidences of human-like or the first human species that was called hominid species outside Africa. So earlier it was believed that it's a linear process. Every species evolved from each other. But now we know that many of these, when they came out of Africa, they started evolving. And just like mammals came out and then again went to water, right? And adapted like fish again. So if you see whale, fish must have evolved in amphibians, then they must have evolved in reptiles, then reptiles must have evolved in like birds, and one different branch of synapsid must have evolved in mammals. But these mammals either stayed in the water or went back to water to develop into whales, right? Now the recent studies and evidences suggest that it was not like whales stayed in water. They, at one point of time, their ancestors were found on land. So they adapted to water. After becoming a fully land mammals, they adapted to water and went back to become whales. Do you understand? Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So Australopithecus, then write down. The first hominid species. The first hominid species is Homo habilis. Now, do you see this genus, our genus coming in? Can you see Homo habilis coming in, people? The word Homo, our direct ancestors. So do you see that anywhere in the picture, right from Dramapethicus to Homo habilis, our direct ancestors? Do you see any monkey, ape, chimpanzee here?
No, sir.
So have we evolved from monkeys?
No, sir.
Right? Homo habilis. And they had a big brain, like compared to early organism, but still smaller than what we have today. So write down Homo habilis, first hominid species. And they were still not hunters. They were not very good with tools. So they were fruit eating. Keep writing these characteristics. They were mostly vegetarian, fruit eatings, or tubers or root eating. Because to hunt, you need some skill, specialization. And their brains were comparatively bigger than Dramapethicus and Australopithecus, but still smaller than what we have today. So they were around 700 to 800 cubic centigrade. Their brain, 700 to 800 cc. You know what is cc? Cubic centimeter. So if you make a cube of 1 centimeter, a cube which is 1 centimeter wide, 1 centimeter, like, you know, all the sides of a cube are same, right? So a cube of side 1 centimeter is called 1 cubic The volume that is present in it is 1 cubic centimeter. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So around 700 to 800 cc was their brain capacity, cranial capacity we call it. Okay. And they were also like not very, so they were primates, but they could not walk completely erect. The first fossils that we have figured out that were completely erect, we named it like that. So from Homo habilis, when we went forward, we named them Homo erectus. Homo erectus. The word erectus means they could walk erect. The first direct ancestors of bipedal humans, which are us. Okay. So Australopithecus is around 2 million years ago. This is around 1.7 or 1.8 million years ago. And Homo erectus is 1.5 million years ago. When I'm saying this 1.5, the earliest fossil that have been found, okay, which means they were there. Now, Homo erectus had a larger brain as compared to Homo habilis. So Homo erectus had a larger brain, which is around 900 cc. 900 cc, and they were hunters, because now their two hands are free, so they started making tools, and they were the first to. And how do we know that they ate meat or they ate fruits? Can you tell me?
By their teeth.
Exactly, because we get hints from today that all the herbivores have a different teeth, and to tear flesh you need slightly pointed canines, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
in Homo habilis and Australopithecines, there were no canines like teeth in their skull, but Erectus had canines. Then from Erectus came Homo neanderthalis. Homo neanderthal. They're also known as Neanderthal man, okay, or Cro-Magnon man. And Homo neanderthals, these fossils have been found in Asia. So like from Africa, we have now finding fossils as far as Asia, Asian continent. Okay, so which means that these species are migrating out from Africa. Many of these species went back because some of the fossils for Erectus are also found in Africa, but you will know that these fossils will not be as old as Australopithecus, right? They will be younger fossils if you do the carbon dating or uranium dating on the fossil. Do you understand? So this proves that they went back, because they are moving in all random directions, no? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Then Homo neanderthalis had a big brain. Their skull cranial capacity was very big, around, write down, they had around 1400 cc brain. 1400 cc. And they were like around 1 lakh to 40,000 years old, these fossils. So they are very, very recent man. Cro-Magnon. They are also called Cro-Magnon man. Cro-Magnon. Which means these were like very much like humans. They used to behave like humans. They used to live in groups. They even had their own cultures and rituals to bury their dead. Okay, so probably it is believed that they will also must be having worship rituals of different kinds. But they were all wild. They were not like, they were just like group of other wild animals. And the latest ones, what we call, are Homo sapiens. We are the The word sapien means wise, right? You know, the word homo means human. The word sapiens means wise. And Homo sapiens, the fossils, the earliest fossils you can find is around 75,000 to 10,000. This is the range in which we have found fossils years ago. Can you see that when 75,000 years ago, when Homo sapiens were there, actually Homo Neanderthals were also there,
Yes, sir.
overlapping. So at one point of time, there were N. What NCERT is not telling you, okay, we are out of time now. Okay, I'll just take 1 or 2 more minutes. What NCERT is not telling you, there were other species like Homo Devsonians, a new species which has been discovered. They were also living along with Homo Neanderthals and Sapiens. But point is, just like tigers, Siberian tiger, Bengal tiger, normal Madhya Pradesh, Indian tiger, all different tigers live in the same time, right? But in different regions. But for humans, the point was they used to compete for similar resources. So only the most wise, the most apt, fittest. Who was the fittest, do you think, according to the natural selection? Homo sapiens, because we were wise, we could make tools, we could defeat them, and you know capture the resources well. So we survived. And also Homo sapiens were the first that started agriculture. So the proofs of agriculture, write down, proofs of human settlement and agriculture dates back to 10,000 years back. Is it clear, everyone? Is everything clear?